Hello everybody and welcome back to the first match preview video of the 2024-25 season. As every Wimbledon fan knows, in just over 1 day's time, AFC Wimbledon will face Colchester United at Plough Lane for the first game of the season for the 2024-2025 season. Pretty excited. It's been a very mixed pre-season, but pre-season can go out the window. Players can make their mistakes in pre-season and hopefully they won't make them in the whole of the season. I think the signings have been pretty good. There's still some positions which I think we still need to strengthen. Maybe a centre-back would be a pretty good option for another signing, but we've still got just under a month of the transfer window left until it hits the end of August. But yeah, in today's video, we are going to be previewing AFC Wimbledon versus Colchester United, going through both teams' pre-seasons, their signings that they've made, and how I think Saturday's game will go. If you're new here, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. On the road to 2,000 subscribers, if we could hit that before Christmas, New Year's, that'll be absolutely brilliant. Will be a matchday vlog, obviously, on the first game of the season. But yeah, let's get into this preview video. First of all, as AFC Wimbledon are the home side, and in this game, we're going to be going through everything AFC Wimbledon for the first half of the video. Let's talk about pre-season for AFC Wimbledon. It's been pretty good. It's been mixed. A lot of fans have different opinions at the moment. It started really well with a 1-0 win over Peterborough. Whenever you beat a team in the league above in pre-season, that's pretty good. I wasn't there, but from the highlights, it seems like we defended well. We know how good Peterborough are, especially on the break, on the counter-attack. They have really fast wingers. And yeah, so that was a really good result for AFC Wimbledon. Following the 1-0 win against Peterborough in Spain, we went back into England, won 3-0 against Met Police, a really good game, a game which obviously Wimbledon should be winning, and we did. 3 really good, well-worked goals, and then we went on to a game on Saturday and lost 5-2 to Premier League side Brentford. Overall, I thought we played all right in that game. I thought we were defensively sound for the majority. There were spells where I thought the patterns of play were really good. And if we can just get the lineup right, get the tactics right, get the patterns of play right, don't make mistakes, I think we can do really well Wimbledon this season. Especially, I think we can definitely beat Colchester if we're on it. We will talk about Colchester in a minute, and they've got a pretty good side, really good manager. So it will be tough on Saturday. I think Colchester might go under the radar this season. They might go on a run. I think we'll talk about them in a minute. But then Wimbledon next week on the following Saturday beat Charlton Athletic 2-0. Again, when you beat a team in a higher division, even if it's a friendly, I thought Charlton were pretty good. They were aggressive in their play. The patterns of play were good. It's just a final end of the pitch that they couldn't really get good shots away. They were pretty tame for Goodman. Goodman did keep a clean sheet in that game, which was, again, really good to see. Good for his confidence. But then Wimbledon did go a little bit disappointing in the last week of pre-season, having 2 losses to 2 National League sides. The first one on a Wednesday night to Maidenhead, a 2-1 loss, very disappointing. And then a 2-0 loss to Barnet on the Saturday, which was probably even more disappointing for any Wimbledon fan that went or watched the game. It was pretty disappointing. We got dominated for the whole of the 90 minutes. So hopefully Wimbledon learnt their lessons in this week's training sessions. They've had a whole week to recover over 2 losses to National League sides, which before we looked at it, it should be 2 wins out of 2. It should be giving the players confidence. So hopefully Johnny Jackson can get the right training sessions done, get them ready for the Colchester game in a couple of days' time. But yeah, it's a really interesting pre-season, really mixed. I wouldn't really worry too much about what's happened in pre-seasons. We've seen really good things, we've seen really bad things, but that's what happens in pre-season. Players aren't fit enough, they're not ready, they might not even be putting as much effort as they will be in league games and cup games. So I think pre-season has been pretty good. The next thing I wanted to talk about was AFC Wimbledon's lineup that I think we should be putting out. There's been a lot of speculation on who's going to start. We have quite a lot of depth in each position, maybe except from left back, left wing back. That's maybe where we don't really have a lot of options in that position. So it's pretty obvious who may start in that position. But other positions, it's really up for grabs. I mean, most of the players have had a pretty good pre-season, but who knows what Johnny Jackson will pick on Saturday. What I've picked is a 3-4-1-2. I think that's kind of what we've been playing. It could be a 5-3-2. That could be what we're playing as well. But it's going to be with wing backs So we'll start in goal. It's been an interesting topic, hasn't it, for Wimbledon this season? Haven't we've been blessed with amazing keepers: Alex Bass, Aaron Ramsdale. I can name more, but they're just going to fly out my head. But yeah, I've put Owen Goodman in goal. I think he's been decent in pre-season. We know the mistakes that he had at Colchester last season, but hopefully Bezo has been training him really well in training sessions and can get him ready for this game. Obviously, he's kept a clean sheet against Charlton. Yes, he didn't really get tested much, but I thought defensively we were really sound. So if we don't let any shots go, we just block shots and we try not to get it past Goodman, but we'll see what happens. But I think Owen Goodman, he's got the number one shirt, Wimbledon releasing numbers today. So I think Owen Goodman will be the number one and he will start the majority of the League Two games. A back three, I've gone Johnson on the left-hand side. I think that's self-explanatory. Same with Joe Lewis. I think that's also self-explanatory. I think both of them have been really good in pre-season and they are probably maybe one of two or three, four players who have definitely cemented their place in the squad. And then I've gone with Isaac Ogundere as a right centre-back. This is kind of where I'm a little bit worried. I mean, Isaac Ogundere has played centre-back, right centre-back in his youth career, but he's obviously more used to the right-back position. But now we have wing-backs, it could help a little bit more with Neuville, Furlong, Sasu, whoever's on that side, Tilly possibly, getting back, tracking back and helping the two left and right sided centre-backs. But yeah, I think that's what it will be. It seems like that's what we've done in pre-season a lot. I'd like to maybe see us go get another centre-back signing, but we'll see what happens. The four in midfield, I've gone with Furlong on the left-hand side. Our only left-footed player on the left-hand side. Obviously, we would have James Tilley, but I wouldn't really want James Tilley in that side. I'd rather him on the right-hand side, cutting in on his left-hand side, but I don't think he will start the game. I think Furlong's looked decent in the couple 2-3 games that he's had in pre-season on loan from Hull City. I don't think we've seen as much from him so far, but I'm sure he's ready and fit enough to start. But yeah, he's looked decent. He made a couple really good overlapping runs against Barnet on Saturday as well, so hopefully he can do more of that and get a couple assists on Saturday. The other side, I've gone with Josh Neuville on the right-hand side. He's been absolutely brilliant in pre-season. Just the thing I like about Josh Neuville, he gets on the ball, he looks forward, he doesn't try to go back to the centre-backs or the midfielders. He looks straight forward, takes on his man, gets a crossing. His end product probably wasn't the best last season, but we've seen it in pre-season. He's got, I believe 2 assists already. So yeah, he's been really good. Hopefully he can continue his form. To be fair, last pre-season he was really good as well. Scored against QPR, scored another couple really good goals. So hopefully he can continue his form that he's had in this pre-season and do really well in the League Two season. And then I've kind of gone with a cam position behind two strikers. You could have Joe Pigott in there. You could have Callum Maycock. I've gone with Callum Maycock just because I just like what he does. I think what I saw his assists from when he came on against Charlton and assisted Josh Kelly's goal was really good. If he can do that more in the League Two season, I'd be really impressed. You could also put Joe Pigott there, as I said, but he hasn't looked up for it in pre-season in my eyes. He might start the Carabao Cup game against Bromley on Tuesday night. That could be another option for Johnny Jackson. We've got a lot of strikers, so let's see what Johnny Jackson does with that. But I've gone with Maycock in midfield. If we can play him the ball, get forward, I think we'll do really well on Saturday. And then the two strikers, I've gone with Omar Bugle and Stevens up top. The thing is with Bugle, he likes to be in the position where I put Maycock tracking back, so hopefully he can get forward, because we know when he's inside the box, inside the areas, he knows how to make really good runs into the box. He knows how to position himself. So I think Omar Bugle needs to stay up front with Stevens and let the players behind him do the dirty work. Yes, he can get back and defend, but then if we're on the counter, he has to get forward really quickly, and that might not be possible for him. But that's what I've gone. Goodman, Lewis, Johnson, Ogundere, Furlong, Smith, Reeves, Neuville, Maycock in the 10, and Bugle and Stevens up top. I think that's pretty good, but let me know down in the comments your thoughts on that lineup as well. But now let's move on to Colchester United, because they've had a pretty good pre-season, pretty good signings. They've got a really good manager. Let's now talk about Colchester United. So Colchester United are the away side in the first game of the season against AFC Wimbledon. I think they might do really well this season. I really like their manager. I think their signings have been really good. They've been smart in releasing players who maybe have played for Colchester for a long time, got in the starting 11, but are not good enough. I think obviously Danny Cowley and his brother have done really well in the past. They've got Lincoln to League Two. and other things. He's been at Portsmouth and he's done really well. So yeah, I think they could maybe go under the radar. Let's talk about Colchester's pre-season. They've had 4 games, which is online. I'm not sure if they had a 5th one, maybe behind closed doors. But they started off with a trip to Malden and Tiptree and have got a 2-0 win. That's what you want from pre-season. You want to start... You want to start pre-season with a win. You want to get the confidence into the players, which is really good. And then they did face Peterborough the game after. This probably would have been the Peterborough game after they played us in Spain. And Peterborough did beat Colchester United 2-1 away from home. To be honest, it's not a bad result against Peterborough. Peterborough are a really good side. They probably thought more about the Wimbledon game, how the chances that they had. They didn't take them, so they did against Colchester. So yeah, that's probably not a bad result. But then they beat Millwall 1-0, which is a really good result. Championship side, that's what we want. But see, both clubs have beaten teams from the higher divisions, but it's obviously, I'm not too sure what Millwall's squad was like. There could have been a weaker starting 11. Colchester United could have defended really well. But then there's a talking point. Their last pre-season friendly on Saturday, they played Cambridge United of League One and beat them 6-0, which I think it's gone over Twitter, Instagram and everything else, Facebook, of how Colchester beat a team in the higher division 6-0 a week before the season starts. I believe Cambridge's side was an under-21, under-18 side. I'm not sure if they had a couple first-team players, but I'm guessing they did. But apparently the majority of their side was in under-23s or under-18s, or just really young players coming in from the academy. So I don't think we need to look at that too much. Colchester had a really strong squad in that game. They wanted to score loads of goals, scare Wimbledon maybe. But yeah, I don't think we need to look at that too much. Obviously, that gives the Colchester United players bags of confidence. But yeah, their pre-season has been kind of like us, on and off, lost a couple games, won most of their games, and I think they can take positives and negatives into the game against Wimbledon. Ex-Dons, there's a lot of ex-Dons in this Wimbledon versus Colchester game. That's the next talking point. We've signed a couple of ex-Colchester players. We've got Owen Goodman on loan. We've got Alistair Smith on loan. They were both at Colchester United last season. So that's going to be interesting to see what type of reception they get. But then we look on the other side. It's going to be interesting how these 4 players get a reception. Let's start with Lyle Taylor. I'm not sure if he was heavily rumoured with us. A lot of Wimbledon fans wanted him, but personally, I think the strikers that we have are really good. I don't think Lyle Taylor would get into the starting 11, so we'll see what type of reception Lyle Taylor gets at Plough Lane on Saturday. He hasn't played at Plough Lane yet, which is really interesting. Hopefully he doesn't start and hopefully he doesn't score. I think that's the main talking point. Alex Woodyard has gone to Colchester, former Don as well, in the season where we got relegated to League Two, and the first season in League Two, that's when he was at Wimbledon. Very interesting signing. I personally don't think he's good enough for League Two. He wasn't really good in the National League for York City last year, so I'm not sure if he's going to get in the starting 11, but he just doesn't give that energy probably going forward. He just does side passes left and right to the wingers, to the other midfielders, doesn't really get forward. I'm not sure if he's going to start. And that's the thing, I don't really know what type of Colchester United lineup they're going to put out, as they haven't played a game, so you can't really see what their lineups are like. Pretty much like that. I'm not sure Alex Woodyard would start, but if he did start, I don't think that would be too much of a threat. And now I've said that, he's going to score a 50-yard worldie on Saturday, so that's brilliant as well. And then 2 more. John Hermione-Gordon was on loan with Wimbledon last season, and now he plays for Colchester. Another interesting one. John Hermione-Gordon was on and off. He only scored 1 goal for Wimbledon last season against Crewe. Really good goal, to be honest. Sometimes you can get a really good John Hermione-Gordon and a really bad John Hermione-Gordon. He's pacey. We know what he can do. Maybe if he's on it, he can get past our defenders. But I think when you have the wing-backs of Furlong, Newville and the 3 centre-backs, I think will be absolutely fine if he starts. Alfie Bendel, a former Don as well, a couple years back. Interesting signing as well. He was on trial with Colchester and apparently did really well. The fans were really impressed with him. So let's see if he starts as well. I always really highly rated Alfie Bendel. I thought he was going to be one of the players like Jack Redoni, starting for us for a couple of seasons, then going up into the leagues, but it hasn't possibly worked out well for him. Not sure if he got injured or anything like that. But to be fair, glad to see him back in League Two. I thought he was good enough back in the day. So let's see if he starts for Colchester on Saturday. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about for the Colchester United side, Danny Cowley and the Cowley brothers have done really well in the transfer window, to be honest. They've brought in 10 players, released a lot of players too, which possibly weren't good enough for League Two. But I think their transfer window has been pretty good. When you look at the majority of their signings, they've signed players which have been from the league above and players who have possibly previously played in League Two before and have had really good seasons. That's what Wimbledon has done as well. We've signed Matty Stevens. He's scored, I believe it was just under 30 goals when Forest Green won the league. And we have other players who have signed and come back down to League Two, have previously had really good seasons. So if they can pick up their form and do really well, I think both us and Colchester could even be up there at the end of the season. I've picked out 5 of their 10 transfers that they've made in the summer transfer window. And all of these are from teams which are in League One. So Lyle Taylor obviously signed on a free transfer, was at Cambridge United last season, only scored 2 goals, I believe, from January onwards until the end of the season. Who knows what Lyle Taylor can do? It's really on and off all the time. Obviously, was brilliant with us when we got promoted up to League One back in 2016. So if Lyle Taylor can bring back his form that he did around 8 years ago, then we'll see what happens. Jack Payne, centre attacking midfielder from Charlton, former Milton Keynes player as well, so he might get a pretty dirty reception on Saturday. But another really good player, dropped down a division. A lot of players like to do that these days, drop down a division, and I'm sure Jack Payne, highly rated player, scored against Wimbledon a couple of times. I think he can do really well for Colchester as well. Teddy Bishop from Lincoln City, another player which is really highly rated, come down another league, which is interesting to see. A lot of players, as I said, just doing that these days, dropping down a league and then they find their form and do really well. I think Colchester have signed really well. Harry Anderson, a right winger from Stevenage, highly rated as well, had a pretty good season last season for Stevenage, a League One side. Interesting how he's made the drop down into League Two. And then Tom Flanagan, a really good centre-back who has played against Wimbledon multiple times for Shrewsbury Town. He joined from Shrewsbury, another League One side. This is really interesting from Colchester. They've obviously done really well in the transfer business. They've obviously given these players really good wages. So I think it will be a really tough test on Saturday. I think a lot of fans who maybe haven't looked at what Colchester have done this season, saying that they could maybe have another relegation battle, but I don't think they will this season. I think they might be in the top half. I really like their manager that they have. To be honest, I wanted him at Wimbledon a couple of years ago, and I think the signings that they've made have been really smart. It seems like they've signed in pretty much every single position, so that's a good thing as well. But let's hope it's more positive for AFC Wimbledon on Saturday. My score prediction, I'm not sure. I think Wimbledon will win. I'm not sure if it's going to be narrowly. I'm not sure if we're going to score loads of goals, concede loads of goals. I think there will be a lot of questions wanting to be answered on Saturday, and I think we'll find out all the answers after the game. But yeah, I think Wimbledon will win 2-1. It's also my birthday on Saturday, so I really hope Wimbledon do pull out something on the bag and get a really good win. But yeah, enough of that. I think Wimbledon will win on Saturday, maybe 2-1, 3-2. But if Wimbledon can just go over the line on Saturday, that would be brilliant. Kick off the new season with a win. But that's the end of my video of my match preview for AFC Wimbledon versus Colchester United. There will be a matchday vlog on Saturday. Pretty excited for the season. Let me know down in the thoughts, your comments on what you think will happen on Saturday. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Come on, you dons.